was a lot of rain in the build-up to this test, but on the morning of the game, it's a bright and sunny day in Trinidad. Will it herald a much-needed sunrise for West Indies, who just seem to have so much of the dark times upon them? Welcome to ESPN Cricinfo Match Day for our coverage of the second test of India's tour of West Indies, which is getting underway in Port of Spain. Lots of milestones. It's the 100th time these two teams are facing each other in Test cricket. It also brings with it the 500th international appearance for one Virat Kohli. So we'll have a lot to talk about as we welcome Deep Dasgupta. Deep, welcome back. Hope you had fun during a more extended break than we had anticipated.
Yeah, thank you for having me over. And yes, I mean, it was good. I mean, got the weekend off. Can't complain.
Yes, unlikely to happen this time, given everything we're reading about the forecast, and it would be good to see a test match that does go the distance. West Indies have done, they've got one part right, which they did in the first test as well. They won the toss, this time putting India into bat. But India making a change. We did not expect that when we were building up to this game. But there is a change. We're told Shardul Thakur is carrying a niggle, and as a result of that, Mukesh Kumar gets an India debut. He's had some experience in first-class cricket, made the waves in Bengal, so it's quite fitting that we have Deep Dasgupta, who might have seen a bit of Mukesh Kumar. So Deep, tell us first your thoughts on the change and what can India expect from Mukesh Kumar?
First of all, I think it was a forced change, isn't it? I think he's come up with a niggle, Shardul, so Mukesh comes in. I'm so happy for Mukesh. It's a great story. I still remember I mean, he was playing second division cricket in Bengal, and when Saurav was a president, they started a new academy called the Vision 2020. This I'm talking about 2017, maybe, roughly around that period. And I was part of it, and that was the first time we saw Mukesh. He came in for the trials. There was a trial, and he came in. He was playing second division, not taking it seriously. And I still remember Ronodev Bose, who's a first class legend. Has played a lot of, I mean, almost 90 or 100 first class games for Bengal and East Zone. Was also part of the squad, Indian squad. So he picked him up. So he saw him as like, there's something about this guy. Obviously he hadn't played any organized underage cricket, and credit to him, to Mukesh and the staff there in that academy worked really hard on Mukesh, and here he is making his debut for India. It's a great story. Humble background. He was. There are rooms at Eden Gardens where he would stay. Everything was looked after by Cricket Association of Bengal, and it's just brilliant. And I think he started playing serious cricket, as in proper cricket, very late. I think in 2016-17 that I'm talking about, I think he was already 19 or 20, something like that. So it's just an unbelievable story from, I mean, somebody who's come out of nowhere, to be honest.
Yeah, and just looking at the graphic on the screen, around 40 first-class games so far, 150 wickets, an average of 21. So those look like strong first-class numbers. From what you've seen, what is it that you hope he would have worked on as he tries to translate some of it now on the international arena?
See, I think his greatest strength is his away swingers, and he's very, very accurate. He's like very old school away swingers, very tight with his lines and his length. And that's what his strength is. And I won't expect anything else from him. To be honest, his success, he was pretty successful last IPL. He had a very specific role of finishing off innings. And I was kind of surprised because I always looked at him as a red ball bowler. So it was also very good and pleasantly surprising to see him do so well with white ball as well. But this is his strength. Red ball, new red ball, it's going to move around. And if anything, if there's any help for the seamers, Mukesh would do it. And he's also kind of sharp. He's got a very smooth, easy, repeatable action. He's kind of quick. I mean, looking at his action, because it's so smooth, you don't realize how quick he is. It's pretty sharp, actually.
Yes, and the pitch report from Port of Spain tells us that it is a firm pitch. It is one where the ball should come onto the bat better, at least better than what we saw in Dominica, where run scoring was so hard. And with all that rain that has been around Trinidad, that could be a factor too in this game. So more on Mukesh Kumar as the game progresses, because obviously India will bowl second. Let's take you through the West Indies lineup. They too have a couple of changes, and they too have a debutant, the one you see towards the top in Kirk McKenzie, who is only 22 and will be playing his first international game across formats. He replaces Raymond Reifer. But from a West Indies personnel point of view, Deep, the more interesting change, the one you alluded to in the build up to this game, is that Shannon Gabriel comes in. Raheem Cornwall had his troubles during the first game. That means West Indies do have their full complement of four fast bowlers: Kemar Roach, Alzari Joseph, Shannon Gabriel, and Jason Holder. And now, Deep, they have won the toss. They have put India into bowl on a pitch which we're hoping will be a lot better and offer more. So, is this now West Indies' best chance to trouble India?
Yes, absolutely. There's no two ways about it. You mentioned about the pitch, you mentioned about the conditions, and also the fact that you've got all four seamers playing now for West Indies, and this is going to be quite challenging for Indian batters, especially the first, hour and a half, where I believe there is a fair bit of moisture on the pitch as well. So, but yeah, I mean, this is the best opportunity, as you mentioned, for West Indies to make a mark.
But Gill, if he's looking at himself as India's next number three, which he's wanted to be, what do you think are the challenges he faces? If you look at the numbers, don't want to be too harsh on a small sample, but he has had his troubles when he's played away from home.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, listen, his biggest challenge is, or for that matter, any batter, when the ball's moving around, right? Especially for subcontinental pairs, if it's moving around, the seam bowlers moving the ball around laterally, it's always going to be challenging. And someone like Shubman, I think that's his biggest challenge. We've seen so many times him getting out in Test match cricket when, especially when the ball's coming back into him. So that's the challenge that he's got to come over. And that's something that I'm sure the West Indian bowlers will also be thinking about, because if you look at the four seam bowlers, Shannon Gabriel, Kemar Roach, both of them get the ball back into the right hander. So I think that's something that Shubman Gill needs to be wary of and mindful of.
If you view the way his white ball game has just skyrocketed this year, all the runs in ODIs, T20s, that IPL campaign that he's just had, what do you think he needs to carry from those formats? And what are the perils of the white ball game that he needs to guard against for a long future as India's number three, test match number three?
Oh, well, the most important thing of something that he should be carrying forward from white ball cricket is obviously his mindset, which is being attacking and positive. I mean, that's him. I don't think he needs to do anything differently. And we've seen him in Test match cricket as well. That's how he bats in Test match cricket as well. So I don't think we need to mention that at all. But that's something that is going to be key, because, like I said, that's who he is. That's who Shubman Gill, the batter, is. As far as something to be mindful of, as I mentioned before, if he's coming out to bat when the ball's still moving around and it's comparatively new, is be a little more circumspect, I guess, initially. Be a little more within himself, as long as it takes for him to get his eye in. And once he's in, obviously, I mean, he's a class act. There's no two ways. He's got all the shots in the world, both orthodox and unorthodox. And he also has this temperament of playing long innings. We've seen that in domestic cricket, in first class cricket as well. So he's got everything that is needed. It's just that the initial 20 odd deliveries or whatever time it takes for him to get himself in.
Worth spending some time on the man who will follow him to the crease as well, because India's number four, Virat Kohli, will feature in his 500th international across formats for India, becoming only the 10th man to do so and the fourth for India after Sachin Tendulkar, Rahul Dravid, and MS Dhoni. How would you react on the magnitude of this achievement?
Oh, it's humongous. I mean, listen, we've been playing cricket for over 75 years now. And like you mentioned, he's only going to be the fourth cricketer to do that. So that just tells you the magnitude of this achievement. And I've said this during the preview as well. Playing one game for your country is a huge achievement in itself. And we are talking about 500 international games for India. So it's huge. And forget fourth for India, you said 10th internationally as well. So, I mean, that just tells you again, isn't it?
And in that group of nine who've done this before him, no one has entered their 500th game having crossed 25,000 runs in international cricket. So that's something to doff our hat to for Virat Kohli. If I can ask you very quickly, Deep, your favorite Virat Kohli memory or performance from his 500 games for India?
There's so many of them. But I think one innings or one test match, I'd say, stands out was Adelaide 2014. because that was like his arrival. He made a statement, and everything that followed after that obviously was brilliant as well. But that was a test match where you knew that you're watching someone's very, very special. It was like greatness. That's what you were watching.
Yeah, hundreds in both innings in what was his first Test match as India captain. Uh, Maybe that might point us to your next answer. What do you think is Virat Kohli's biggest contribution to Indian cricket?
Oh, biggest to Indian cricket, or I'd say just the mindset, as in the fitness, being able to look himself as an athlete, not just a cricketer, and introducing, I wouldn't say introducing, but really focusing on the fitness aspect of it. I think that's made a huge difference. And I, I'm not just going to limit it to Indian cricket. I'd say society as a whole. I think he's made a huge difference with that mindset of his, how he keeps himself fit over the years. How he approaches the sport as well. It's been phenomenal. I think his biggest contribution, apart from all the other achievements, which have been quite a few of them in the last so many years, but I think one thing that really stands out, and I said has affected not just the cricket fraternity, but outside as well as a society. I think it's his dedication to fitness.